So today we have Dr. Carissa Purnell here with us. How are you feeling today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. So to start off, I'm going to be asking just a few questions. And the first one is, could you share how you became involved with the Salinas Regional Sports Authority, our nonprofit organization that manages the Salinas Regional Soccer Complex?
Yes. So, I moved to Salinas when I was still finishing grad school. So I was at San Jose State. I was looking for a position to work in the community. I was interested in teaching. I was at the Cesar Chavez Library, and there was some work working with students and families around like ESL programming and like bilingual story time. So it was kind of right at my alley. So I moved this way back then. And I was in the library in 2010, and I really specifically remember it was like World Cup season. So tons of kids came to the library. They were watching everything on the computers, which is kind of strange to me.
Yeah.
They either didn't have a TV at home or didn't have internet access at the time. So I was like, well, let's stream the World Cup and we can watch it together as a community. So I think like a lot of us who played soccer, you watch a match and you want to go play.
Yeah.
So kids would come in like their uniform, their cleats and shin guards, and they wanted to play after. So you would see these kids watching the World Cup matches and then running around the library with soccer balls. So from there, we kind of started this really grassroots mini informal team, right? So kids would start coming after school, they would do their homework in the homework center, and then we would go play soccer. David and Rhodey were two community volunteers who helped us kind of start there, and then we reached out to CSUMB and said, hey, we have a lot of kids who want to play soccer and we want to motivate them to do their homework at the same time. So Service Learning stepped up, and that's when I met Coach Tony and Coach Craig. And from there, we kind of started this nonprofit called the Cesar Chavez Football Academy. And we would provide free access to kids to be able to kind of play soccer and do what they wanted. So that's actually like them on the cover. Mm-hmm. So whenever we had field space, we were just super excited. So we played at Cesar Chavez Park, we played behind the library, and it kind of grew from there. So I know a lot of our students would come and play here. And through my work in the community, obviously at the library, I actually met Alfred Diaz-Infante, who was a board member at the time, and he kind of explained, we're going to grow the soccer complex, and I thought it was a great opportunity to be able to bring in kind of a younger community voice into the work. So Alfred, rest in peace, was one of the community leaders who had reached out to me and just kind of invited me to this space with Maricel and Alma, who are kind of OG board members as well. So I think it was really organic getting involved in SRSA because I was from the community, they saw the work we were doing, and they wanted more of that voice included in it. So I think I kind of came because I love soccer and spending time on the east side, most people do. So it was nice to be able to come and join a group of leadership really invested in doing right by our young people and building something that we could all be proud of. So even sitting here in this space, I think 15 years ago, I would have never imagined seeing turf fields and lights. So I'm just really excited the direction that we're moving.
Yeah, so that kind of answers our next question. But as a volunteer board member, what do you find most rewarding about contributing your time and effort to the Salinas Regional Sports Authority now?
I think definitely seeing how much it offers to not just our athletes, but entire families, particularly girls and young women. I think I grew up in the Sacramento area, and we had these huge complexes. I remember playing at Cherry Island every summer, and it was multiple fields. There was a whole facility. And coming to a place like Salinas and not seeing it, I think it was pretty disappointing. And knowing that we've built and double and triple in size all of the things that we can offer is a huge accomplishment. And I know a majority of the board, everyone volunteers their time, obviously, but they're invested not just as a board, but as community members as well. So I think that we have a super strong and diverse board that really does represent the best interest of the entire community. And we had the opportunity to play on the new turf fields in the first game. And I think it was nice to see the girls that I coached kind of experience a moment with us, and the whole community came out. And it was just really special to kind of build a space that I know the students I have now, but the ones, their kids someday, everyone's going to be able to enjoy this for a long time to come.
Correct. And going back to like kind of what you mentioned, how the girls you're coaching like played, it was like you said, it's
a big deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal, and it was even more like that it was girls that were like playing. So
first goal scored on those fields was by a girl from Alsa High School, and so
correct.
That's something that's really special to me.
Yeah. And given your diverse career, what personal values or experiences have most influenced your approach to leadership and community engagement with the sports industry?
I think definitely just advocacy for folks who might not otherwise be able to afford it. I know my family growing up, it's a big investment to play soccer. So whether you're traveling, paying coaches fees, even now, I think my poor dad would have a heart attack if he saw how much soccer cleats cost. So I think the unique opportunity we have here is recreating something that's accessible to our families no matter what they make, where they work, or where they come from. So I think just being true to where we are is really important to me. I know that we're housed and we're on the border of East Salinas, but this is a home for a lot of people. So making sure that we're humble in everything that we do. And no matter how big the complex is, that anyone is always welcome here and they feel that way.
And where do you envision the Salinas Regional Soccer Complex in the next 5 to 10 years?
So I know that we're like planning things out in phases. And I think one of the things I'm looking most forward to in the next decade is seeing our Learning Center community hub be built. I work in education and I know how important things like access to tutoring and support is, but also the mental health care piece. Sports, at least for me and a lot of people I know in my circle, has been super healing and a part of what kind of keeps us whole. So I'm glad that the complex is not just dedicated to building super high quality access to athletic facilities, but spaces that are representative of the needs that our community has. And if that is education and tutoring or mental health care support, I'm super glad to see that they're flexible in construction. So we're designing things based on what people who live here and use the space are asking for.
Correct. So it's going to be more than just the soccer complex. It's going to be yeah. And then what are some little known facts about the Salinas Regional Soccer Complex that the public might not be aware of?
I think the name is a little tricky because it does say Salinas Regional Soccer Complex, but I think knowing we're putting in like the BMX pump track, there's going to be volleyball. It's going to be a multi-use sports facility, which I think will be super neat to bring in different families and different communities and networks throughout Salinas to come and use it. And it's also going to be accessible by, I think, a broader community. So I know the team has been working hard hosting tournaments and bringing people from all across the state to see the space, which is nice. Hosting even groups that came up from Mexico, which is going to be awesome. So I think there's more going on than just soccer. That's not always being promoted, but I think obviously my bias is towards soccer, but knowing that we can do so much more outside that space and really be what the entire city's asking for is going to be nice.
Correct. And how do you think our Salinas Regional Soccer Complex benefits the local community?
Oh man, in so many ways. I think you come here on any Saturday, Sunday, and I think young people say it's a vibe, right? Like you come and you feel safe and you're happy. There's music, there's families, there's food. Obviously, we come to play soccer, which is a part of fitness and it keeps us healthy. But I think that this is just a hub and center of the community that does so much. So we're generating income, we're bringing people in, and I think it's a positive spin on some of the negative stuff that we oftentimes hear about Salinas. And I know that anyone who comes around the weekend always wants to come back because it's somewhere you want to be.
Yeah, like you said, it's a vibe.
Yes.
Especially for the
You said it, so it's good. Yes.
And how has your experience as an educator shaped your approach to leadership and decision making?
I think working in schools in Salinas has been probably one of the most humbling experiences of my life. I think anyone who's been in the classroom or on a school campus or even a public space, you develop relationships with the people you work for, and you do home visits and you meet the families and see where they come from and learn about their stories and hopes and dreams for one another and for themselves. And I think that I've never lived anywhere in my life where people wanted so much and were so humble and willing to do whatever it took to get there. I think not to be political, but following what happened in January, there's a lot of fear and anxiety in the community about supporting people who look like us and supporting the immigrant community. And I think Salinas is a proud immigrant community, and we should be. I think that's the backbone of how everything in here works, and I want to make sure that we can lift it up. But I think working his schools had made me a stronger voice for that and to be unafraid, because I think sometimes fear can limit how much we can push back on change, and I think that no one should be afraid. And so the good thing about schools and education, even in the soccer complex and soccer community, is we're a big community, and I think it's nice having a facility like this because we're stronger together and everyone comes and we can advocate and do what's right by the students and families that we work with.
Correct. And how do you plan to ensure that the voices of the community, especially youth, are heard and represented in board decisions?
I think always like being willing to listen has been important. I know we've done some listening sessions. I think having you be here in this space and the whole podcast team has been really important. I love the Reina's work that they've been doing, like highlighting our local girl athletes has been important. I mean, this facility and everything that we do here exists for them. So I think when you lose sight of that, you lose sight of your purpose and vision. So any decision that we make, it should include the community. And so I'm glad that all these promotional materials, everything the board has done is really reflective of people who come here. So they're not using stock images and stock photos and stock stories. They've actually gone out, and Lupe has done amazing work, like pulling our families and survey work. So whatever we can do to capture a voice, I think, has been important. And I appreciate Jonathan and his team have gone out and been a voice outside of the soccer complex. So they'll go to Rotary meetings. They presented at the Board of Chambers and Council. So I think ensuring voice is included in decision making also means being present in the community, which is also why the board is super special, because all of us kind of have our professional worlds and where we operate, and we're always advocates of the soccer complex no matter where we go.
Yeah. And how has your education journey from studying English to informational agriculture to education shaped your approach to leadership and community development?
I think it's been like pretty non-traditional. I wanted to be a classroom teacher, and it turned out I wasn't very good at it. So I think that we all make pivots in our life to be able to do what feels right. And so while I came here wanting to be a teacher, I ended up doing mental health advocacy and community work because that was the need that kind of presented itself to me. So I think in terms of leadership and community development, that's part of it, is being able to pivot and be flexible depending on the needs that are around you. So I would really love if everyone liked Shakespeare as much as I do, but I know that that's not necessarily the case, right? So I remember being in classrooms and having students fall asleep and having students be, defiant or whatever, but a lot of it had nothing to do with the classroom. It was just a lot of things that were going on at home. So taking a step back and being reflective in everything that I do has been important. And bringing those people into leadership with me has also been a really big priority for me. So I think going to school, I never really had teachers who looked like me, who spoke like me, who understood kind of the reality of my day-to-day. So it was important for me to hire and bring those people on board. So I'm super grateful, and I feel privileged to have had the opportunity to hire some former students, to bring on board some of my former soccer players from Alisal to where I work, because I think that there's nothing more impactful than someone who wants to teach from a place that's true to where they came from. So bringing people on board from the community has been a huge priority for me, and I'm excited because I think that's where development really occurs, because it's rooted in something that's tied to here.
Correct. And what aspects of your personal and professional journey make you passionate about serving this region?
I think that this wasn't probably what I dreamed of when I was 8 or 10 years old, but I also, at this point in my life, there's nowhere else that I'd rather be. So I think that the minute I came to Salinas, I felt at home. Being on Williams Road in Del Monte is probably like the best couple decades of my life. I think that being able to go to La Plaza and ice cream at CVS are just these tiny experiences that make everything feel warm and real. I think the minute I moved here, people treated me like family. I've lived in the Central Valley in the Bay Area, and I've never been treated with so much respect and warmth. So I think a lot of my passion is just rooted in being treated like a good human being, and I think that's why it's important for me to defend and protect and advocate and be a voice for people, because no one has ever disrespected me or been untrue to me in the process. So I think the relationships that I built over my time in Salinas are the reason that I continue to come back and do it, is because there's not a better group of people and families I've ever met who deserve something like the complex than the work that we do here.
Okay. And now for some rapid fire questions. So what soccer team do you root for?
So I'm a Barcelona fan. Like, Messi is my hero. Like, we're not the greatest right now. I feel like the new generation is not true to like the Barcelona style of play, but I'm a diehard Barca fan. Obviously, like our local teams, NBFC and stuff, is super excited. Bay Area FC, I'm glad to have a women's team here locally, but Barcelona's always been my team.
Your team. And what's your favorite song, artist, or album?
I don't have like a favorite. I think recently, like a lot of people, I'm on a definitely like a Kendrick kick right now. I think after the Super Bowl, going back and listening to everything, I'm super grateful to him as an artist and the work that he's doing. So I don't particularly have a favorite. I kind of just whatever I'm in the mood for at the time. Yeah.
And do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
You know, again, like I'm not a huge TV person. I'm a big reader, so um I have more books on me more often than I do what's on the TV. I think like most people, Netflix is pretty addicting to, so
On trending.
whatever's trending, and I think it's pretty embarrassing to say, but like Nacho Libre is probably one of my favorite movies ever. So maybe not a super great artistic scene. But it's funny. I love that
Yes.
movie.
And what's your favorite hike or outdoor adventure you've been on?
So I have some dogs. So recently I've been taking them out to get some time like out in the Carmel Highlands, which is really pretty. I think Big Sur is probably one of the most beautiful spaces in the whole world. So I love to go and visit Big Sur when I have time.
And what about for your LSL team? How do you feel like it's been coaching there?
So I started coaching ASL in like 2015. It's been a while. I think we have our ups and downs as a team because I think you've got 4 years with a group of players and then you kind of build momentum and then you have to start all over again.
Yeah, it's like new players.
Yeah, I think a lot of us who we grew up playing with the same group of girls for such a long time. You have a chemistry and you understand how each other plays. So high school's a little tricky. This year we did a lot better. We almost made playoffs, but I think one of the reasons I love coaching LSL is just again like the group of young women who come and hearing their stories and being part of their families has been super special to me. So I don't think I'll ever leave LSL. I love being a Trojan. I love being part of that school culture over there, and it's always really important to me. Like I'm waiting for this season when we outdo the boys. Boys have this great LSL legacy, but I want the LSL girls to outshine them. Super glad to see Alvarez doing well right now. I'm excited to go watch them play again. I think the work we do in Salinas around soccer goes unnoticed a lot. I was able to play growing up too, and when you play in college, it's different. So I'm hoping to see like our young people get to that point someday and come back.
Yeah, correct. Well, that is it for today, and then here's a little cookie that we have for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
That's it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Boy, you have a Playboy sticker on your phone. I just don't.